I'm always gonna come back here. You gotta know that about me by now, right? These streets are where I belong.
Now, as the dust settles on the explosive events of Season 2's finale, we're all probably wondering, what's next not just for Tommy Egan, but for the CBI, DMAX, Shanti Showstopper, Law Enforcement, Miguel Garcia, and the rest. There's a number of storylines that have been left open-ended, which really does make next season unpredictable, and so we're going to take a deep look at what we can expect in Season 3 of Force. We're going to explore where the characters are in terms of their moral and ethical dilemmas, morally complex decisions that some have had to make, betrayal, snitching, all while exploring the thin line that separates law and chaos, with not just those in the street and drug game, but also within family dynamics. But first things first, when can we expect Season 3? Now, there is no word on the street about a release date just yet. In fact, we are still waiting for the news that Force has been renewed, which is probably delayed due to the actors and writers' strike. But good news on that front, they have managed to finally strike a deal, so I do think an announcement is pretty imminent, especially because there are a lot of loose ends to tie up in Power Book 4 Force Season 3. Now, for those who are OG Power fans will know who Gary Lennon is. He was a co-showrunner of the OG Power and the showrunner of Force Season 2, and boy did he do Tommy Egan and the rest of the cast justice. He also did an interview recently where he said one of the themes that he'll be writing towards in Season 3 is blood being thicker than water. So what does he mean by blood being thicker than water? It's a message to say that family relationships and bonds are stronger and more important than other types of relationships. So it's used to emphasize that family ties are the strongest and most important relationships in someone's life. And so with that being said, I think one of the major focuses and themes for Season 3 will be family. He also teased the following for Season 3. We've taken every single character on that we have on the chessboard and we brought them to where their back is against the wall. And a couple of things happened which he didn't want to give too much away, but it is about who lives and who will die, and they will answer that question in Season 3. So we know death and jail is a part of the game when it comes to Power World and the street and drug game in general, which I think brings us nicely onto the first topic. Is Claudia Flynn dead or is she alive? I do think the writers do love playing with us when it comes to certain characters and storylines. We all know many do still believe that Ghost is still lurking in the shadows, and you can't doubt there has been a common theme across Power that dates all the way back to Season 2. Kanan Stark evaded near death and we saw how he was making moves behind the scenes as Slim, and in essence, as a ghost. Filipe Lobos was also forced to fake his death after a botched assassination attempt from Ghost while he was in jail. There was also Tatiana, a former employee of Club Truth, who happened to be Milan's partner, but someone who Tommy did cancel Christmas on in Force Season 1. Tommy also faked his death in Ghost Season 1, and there was also Lauren in Ghost Season 3, who was kept at Jenny Sullivan's country home after Effie failed to kill her. So as Unique once famously said,
"You know like I know. Until that body shows up, he ain't dead."
Now I do think we have to ask the question, does Claudia deserve to live, or does she deserve a place right next to her father in Power Hell? I think I probably speak for majority when I say I'll go with the second option, but it doesn't necessarily mean she will. This is why I spoke about the theme of those who were presumed dead but came back, and I think the one that applies to Claudia the most is what happened with Filipe Lobos. Until that body doesn't show up, she ain't dead, and so there is a chance she could be alive in Season 3. We also know that law enforcement did get a win by arresting Markovich, Roberto Ortega of the Marquez cartel, and Claudia Flynn, but Stacey Marks wasn't satisfied. She wants the shark. So how does she keep the hunt for Tommy Egan alive? Maybe through Claudia Flynn. I also wouldn't be surprised if she was alive and she was released on a technicality, because we have seen that in Power with 2-Bit and Lorenzo. Now on the flip side, she may very well be dead, but just like Gary Lennon said, we're just gonna have to wait till Season 3, because on screen, I don't think we can be certain. I don't think anybody can say they are 100% certain that Claudia Flynn is gone, so let's just wait and see. But I do think this one will divide a few in the comment section, so let me know what you think. One of the major conflicts that will be at the center of the story in Season 3 will be Miguel Garcia versus Tommy Egan. Tommy orchestrated the grand finale of his master plan to become a Connect in Chicago, and even though he did become a Connect, Che only gave him Markovich's position along with territory. He arranged a meeting between Miguel and Tommy and warned both of them play nice in the streets, but I think we all know that their story is heading, both business and personal. Business-wise, Tommy and the CBI are becoming Connects, and a direct rival of Miguel Garcia is going to hurt the Insane Princes. The CBI were Miguel's biggest customers, and so that will leave a huge hole in his pocket, which I think is something we do need to keep in mind. Tommy's organization makes up more than half of Chicago, and that's huge. The territory and Tommy now control increases as he takes Markovich's position, and no doubt he'll probably try and take Miguel's in Season 3, and probably vice versa, But the other problem they have is Mireya Garcia.
But you're never gonna see me there again.
So the question is, where is Mireya? This is something that will definitely hurt Tommy. He managed to get what he wanted in the street game, and he planned this romantic getaway in Barcelona with Mireya, only for Shanti and Jenard to finally play that chess move we've been waiting for them to play.
No. Never interrupt the enemy when he's making a mistake. We just sit back and watch the show.
They were sitting on this picture since episode 7, and they finally delivered this picture to Miguel Garcia. But what has Miguel done with Mireya? I highly doubt he would have killed her, even though that's what Mireya said he'd do a few times across season 2. I highly doubt he would kill his sister. I think he's most likely sent her away, maybe to Mexico or somewhere Tommy can't find her or reach her. So this is going to drive Tommy crazy, and it's only going to pour more fuel to the fire. So Tommy versus Miguel Garcia will be both business and personal in season 3, and this will definitely take center stage when Force returns.
Let's play this right. Tommy, I can't play it any kind of way if I don't know what the fuck is going on. Like, as soon as we agree upon a plan, you go up and you do something crazy. It's almost like, you got to stay one step ahead of me, calling the shots.
Now for those that followed my breakdowns throughout season 2, no, I kept saying there is a conflict brewing between Tommy and Diamond. You could just tell with the way both were behaving amongst external factors. Both of them were keeping secrets, and it only takes one moment to shift the dynamics, whether it be a relationship that gets in between business, someone in your ear like Jenard is with Diamond, one of them making a solo move, or stupidity like from DMAX. Another reason why I also think we will eventually see Tommy versus Diamond is because the theme for season 3 is blood being thicker than water. Jenard and Diamond have been rebuilding their bond after their father's death, and I think they're going to be stronger than ever. I know there's Shanti who's been planting the seeds and putting her moves into motion by telling Jenard they'll eventually make their move by killing Tommy and Diamond, as well as taking the CBI. But I think we've all seen from Jenard's reaction, he isn't fully on board with her plan. Now when it comes to Diamond, we also have to remember we're now seeing the old Diamond, and this Diamond, he does not give a fuck. He slashed his parole officer, drowned Jamal, and he also seemed like he was happy with Jenard's plan to offer DMAX to King Kilo as a peace offering. But let's not forget, DMAX is Tommy's nephew, and when he finds out, all hell will break loose. Even though it was absolutely stupidity on DMAX's part, he's still Tommy's nephew, and Tommy will protect him. Diamond also doesn't know about Tommy and Mireya's relationship, and that wasn't the only warning Diamond gave Tommy. So when shit hits the fan with Miguel Garcia, Tommy's gonna have to come clean about why he wants to go after him, and I don't think Diamond will be fully on board if the reason is Mireya Garcia. So this conflict between Tommy and Diamond is one to watch. Now what happens with DMAX? Not only did he make a stupid move by killing Mad Dog in broad daylight, he's also gone against his father JP and Kate, and also defied Tommy's orders of staying at Grey Shores Youth Academy. He also made a threat to kill his father JP, and just before he left his family home, he said he's a gangster and he does gangster things. Now what I say to that is, good luck, because we all saw what happened with Tariq St. Patrick when he went rogue and started to act a little reckless. It ended in his twin sister's death, and I wouldn't be surprised if something similar happened with DMAX. I'm also not sure where they go with JP's story in season 3, and he's actually on my early death predictions, and I wouldn't be surprised if DMAX's actions does cause his death. Another storyline we do need to be mindful of when it comes to DMAX is King Kilo. I touched on it briefly earlier how Jenard offered DMAX to King Kilo, but there was another huge clue in this conversation.
I'm getting out of prison soon.
King Kilo is set to be released soon, and so not only will he be expecting to be delivered DMAX, you have to wonder how does this shift the dynamics in the streets of Chicago? What does King Kilo make of Tommy Egan being at the head of the CBI with Diamond? Now having said that, we've also seen another common theme across the Power universe. There are many characters like Benny and Lorenzo who were built up to be real tough guys and strong guys, but Benny went out in a whimper, and when Lorenzo was released from prison, he was reckless. He had more control while he was in prison than he did outside. So will it be the same for King Kilo? I hope not. I hope they take a different approach, and I do hope he's the big bad and really poses a threat and makes Tommy Egan think, and I think he will. So King Kilo's release is definitely something to keep an eye on for season 3. Now what about Vic Flynn? Tommy found out that he was a snitch at the end of episode 9, but kept his cards really close to his chest, and then we saw how he used him to feed law enforcement the wrong information. He was being watched by Raheem and Bones at a warehouse and made Stacey Marks aware that his cover had been blown, and she moved to try and save her CI, because if her CI dies on her watch, boy is it bad news. But what happens with Vic? Does Tommy cancel Christmas, or is there another twist to the story? It really is hard to see what they do with Vic's character now that he snitched on Tommy and the fact Raheem and Bones still have him at a warehouse, but funnier things have happened in Power. We've seen how Andre Coleman defied all the odds and survived in the world of power until season 6, so I don't think it's a foregone conclusion that Vic is a goner. What they do with his story if he does survive, who knows? So there is an air of mystery about this one, just like Claudia. Heavy is the head that wears a crown was my first tweet after watching episode 10. It's a quote that basically means any person who has been in power carries the weight of a series of consequences, which I think is the best way to sum up the ending of Force Season 2 for Tommy Egan. For all of Tommy's efforts to become the Connect of Chicago, what did he lose? What was the cost? He may have achieved his goal, but is it worth it if it came at the cost of his relationship with Mireya, JP, and Eagan, and also where DMAX finds himself in the streets? For as much as Tommy wants power in the streets, he's also big on family and love, and he will always have a place for them in his heart. So I do think being turned away by JP at the hospital would have hurt. But Holly did warn him earlier on. He said that he can't have both. He can't love and be in the street game, a double life of his own. So where does this leave Tommy and his family? Well, first things first, he's actually got himself a club, just like Ghost did, because JP returned the keys, and he said he wants nothing to do with it. But can he repair the relationships with JP and Kate? I think it will be difficult, but I think he can. He's always had a toxic relationship with Kate, and despite their broken relationship, she's always been there for him, providing the right advice. We also have to bear in mind the timeline. When Tommy came back to Ghost in season 3, he was pretty pissed that Tari turned up at Kate's with a gun, and he also spoke to Tasha about how he has family in Chicago. So I do think Tommy will make things right, but this family dynamic will be another side plot to look forward to. So let's see how Tommy navigates the trouble with family, the street game, evading law enforcement, all while trying to find Mireya at the same time. Sticking with family bonds, what happens next with Jenard and Diamond? Their relationship in season 2 started with them against each other, but what brought them back together was their father's death, and Diamond not giving up on Jay when he was going through arguably the most darkest moment of his life. Now this is a relationship that I can only see getting stronger, which also ties in with Shanti's showstopper.
Like, you know there's a version of this, but we only get rid of Tommy.
Shanti is dangerous, and if I were to describe Shanti in one word, it would be queen. The reason why I would describe her as a queen is because on the chessboard a queen can move in every single direction across the board. Diamond said she's a boxer, she moves around a lot, and she's hard to predict, and that's Shanti to a T. It did take us a while to get to know who she was, what her motivations were, and learn about her ambition. She was someone who was very calm, patient, and just like a queen on the board, she moved around the chessboard eliminating pieces that benefited her cause. Now a lot of people were predicting her demise, but I wasn't one of them, and it stems from what I mentioned about Jukebox and Tommy's story back in Power. I thought they missed a trick in Power by not having them come face to face, or just seeing how Tommy would have dealt with the threat of Jukebox, but I do think we're now seeing it with Shanti. Shanti is constantly learning and evolving, and she's going to be very dangerous in season 3, she really is, even if Tommy knows he can't trust her. However, her eventual downfall I think will be Jenard. She loves Jenard, and love can really be a weakness in the streets. Sometimes it can blind you, and I think when Shanti gets to that moment where she believes she can take the CBI, where she wants to kill Tommy and Diamond, I think we're going to see Jenard turn the tables on Shanti. So here's another early death prediction for season 3. I think Jenard will be the one to stop the show for Shanti's showstopper. Last but not least, what's next for law enforcement? Despite not getting Tommy and the Estrada cartel, they did get a win, but not the win that Stacey Marks wanted. She's obsessed with Tommy, just like Blanca was, and just like Cooper Saxe was, and I do think we've seen enough over season 2 to suggest she's not gonna stop. She's gonna come again. But just like I asked the question for Tommy, at what cost? Her husband Bobby DeFranco can see his wife is changing before his very eyes, and I don't think he likes what he sees. But for Stacey, she needs to try and save a CI first. Does she also help Claudia if she survives? Who knows, but you can guarantee one thing, she will be on the hunt for Tommy Egan once again. Now that's a breakdown of where we are with each storyline and character, so drop all your thoughts down below in the comment section because we have gone through a lot, and I'm sure many of you may have a different opinion which may not match mine. So drop all your thoughts down below in the comment section, and as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.